I'm here in New York City. I have a pretty long layover, and I thought what better way to spend it than to come to here, Flushing Meadows Corona Park, the site of the 1964 and 1965 World's Fair. Being a big Disney fan, there's a lot of Disney history here, and several attractions premiered here at the 1964 World's Fair. Let's go take a look and see what's left of them. To see the Unisphere in person is pretty incredible. It's epic and it's beautiful and it's amazing. Got my obligatory selfie in front of it. Gotta do that. That's gotta be the thumbnail, right? It's so interesting. So they don't have water in here. They don't have those fountains running, and they're kind of barricaded off around them, but you could still walk up to it and touch it if you wanted to. Now this is not actually a Disney attraction. This is the New York State Pavilion. That was an elevator that would take you up to the top. It's one of the most prominent things still left here though. It's pretty cool. I think that this would be the equivalent of the Space Needle here at the New York World's Fair. Nice viewing deck up there at the top. You can see out over everything. Probably don't want to go up there now though. Looks pretty non-operational. It had a whole bunch of bright colors in the middle there during the World's Fair. Not so much now. Somebody's pulled back some of these curtains so you can see into it. I don't like abandoned things, they're spooky, but this is really cool. I had no idea this was gonna be so huge. I didn't know. I should have known, but I didn't. So I believe the great moments with Mr. Lincoln would have been over here somewhere, where the stadium is now. So we can't really get over there because it's blocked off. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln was the main attraction in the Illinois Pavilion, and it was sponsored by the state of Illinois. It closed in the end of the first season, so it wasn't here for the 1965 season because they moved it to Disneyland and they opened it there in 1965, October I believe. There have been a few different versions of what is now the opening show of Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. The original version had highlights of the state of Illinois. I also read online that the original animatronic went missing and it later resurfaced, and it's the animatronic of Mr. Lincoln that you can see in One Man's Dream in Hollywood Studios. Fun fact. So this is another angle of where Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln would be. It's really hard to tell exactly where it was because I can't pinpoint a location from that time period that looks the same. So not sure exactly where it was. It looks different now, but it's over there. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to see the exact location of the second attraction. I thought I was gonna be able to figure this out better than I have. A lot of the buildings are either different or, I don't know, the maps are kind of confusing. I think this building right behind me might be the Churchill Pavilion, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I've got my bearings. That building right there was the Hall of Science, and then I don't know if you can see them at this angle, but there are rocket ships there that were part of the Space Pavilion. That would make this lot here right in front of me the Magic Skyway, sponsored by Ford. So the Ford Magic Skyway was the only attraction that Disney worked on that did not make it to a park. And I guess you could say a lot of the concepts from that made it to the park though, because basically Ford debuted their Mustang there. So guests would ride Ford cars around different exhibits. I believe there's a section with dinosaurs, and a lot of the rides that we know today, like the People Mover, World of Motion, and the Universe of Energy, they all are now made possible because of Disney's work with Ford on the Ford Magic Skyway. I have to admit, I thought there might be a little bit something left, but no, just an empty lot now. That's a little sad, but I do believe we'll see something cool still, right? It's just all very interesting here. You know, Seattle, the site of the, I believe, 1962 World's Fair, is much different looking than this. Today, it's still pretty functional. Fountains still operate there, everything's clean and well kept. You can still take the Space Needle up to the top. And here, it's different. So much of this has been kind of taken over by nature. It's just very beautiful in this unkept way. It's very unique, it's very special. I definitely want to come back when I have longer time here and when Jeremy can come with me. Oh, I just noticed the street has a marker. I bet they all do, or at least a lot of them. Maybe not anymore. I'm on my way to take a look at what's left of the Pool of Industry. Doesn't look like it's gonna be too fancy. I don't know that it looks entirely different from what it used to. Oh, I see a turtle shell right there. Is that a turtle? I think that's a turtle, isn't it? I don't know if it's an alive turtle, but I think that's a turtle. There's a bunch of Canadian geese out there. It's kind of stinky, but it's pretty, and it's nice that the animals are enjoying it. I don't know if that turtle's enjoying it. He seems kind of dead, but hopefully he's not. It might not look like much now, but right here behind me, this is the site of the Carousel of Progress. The Carousel of Progress was sponsored here at the World's Fair by GE. It moved to Disneyland after the World's Fair in 1967, and then later was moved over to Disney World in 1975, where it still is today. There have been a few different versions of it, although if you've seen it recently, you can tell it hasn't been updated in a while. So neat. I love that you can see the towers over at the New York Pavilion, as well as the Unisphere. That Unisphere is probably the best part here. It's very neat. And I like that people can play soccer and have that view in the background. I am running out of time. We gotta go visit one more stop. I'm not gonna be able to see everything today, but I've got one more stop I gotta make. So down over there is the Pool of Industry, and then outside of it is the Carousel of Progress location, and then all the way down here on the other side of the flock of geese is the spot of probably the most well-known and well-liked of the attractions that Disney was involved with in the 1964 World's Fair. And that is, it's a small world. So right here was the site of the Unicef Pavilion, sponsored by Pepsi-Cola. And it was the premiere of the attraction, It's a Small World. In 1966, it was then installed in Disneyland, and now there's It's a Small World all over in Disney parks. It's a fan favorite. When it was here at the World's Fair, it actually had a big structure in front of it called the Tower of Four Winds. And you can still see a chunk of that also at One Man's Dream in Hollywood Studios. So next time you're at Hollywood Studios, you should stop by and see some of the cool stuff left over from the World's Fair. I'm gonna make it back in time, but I am cutting it close on time, so I'm gonna head out of here. There's more here to see from the World's Fair, but that's all we're gonna have time for today. Gotta take in one last view of that Unisphere. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love that thing. I wish Jeremy could have been with me today, because he would have had fun seeing the places that I saw today. Thank you so much for coming along with me. If you know something about the 1964 World's Fair that I didn't mention, please leave a comment, let me know. Tell me what I missed. I'd love to hear it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.